Yeah, Simba. Where should we start? I was wondering, do you want to maybe tell us a bit about your sort of journey into filmmaking? I mean, how did it all start, and
Hope you
what
got a lot of time.
what sort
No,
of
I'm joking.
challenges have you faced along the way?
It started off me being a cheeky little, really, taking mum's camera and taping over Christmas videos and birthdays and trying to make kung fu movies on a high 8 camera, using stop start on the camcorder. So we'll be watching someone blowing out a birthday cake and it would turn to a roundhouse kick in my garden, um, wearing my Spice Girl kind of Adidas tracksuit poppers buttons, with the buttons on the side. I remember them coming off, so it almost looked like flares. But yeah, it was doing that and doing in-camera editing because we had no post equipment obviously in the house, and um, it was I had trouble finding a school as a kid, so I stayed at home a lot whilst I was waiting in the catchment area as we moved from Fulham to Hounslow as a little kid. And that was my escapism, really, was movies. And it stemmed a lot from my dad because he had a lot of films and they were all on VHS and all numbered. So he made me sit there and write all the films and the date and who was in it. So I'd have to forward the videotape all the way to the end and get all the information off there. And that's why some people say, oh, when was V2 Kill? I go, oh, that was shot in 1984 and came out in 1985 with Roger Moore and Grace Jones. And I was like, how do I know this? It's like, because I kind of had to do it, but I loved it. So it started off as, yeah, sort of Bruce Lee movies, Kung Fu movies, Jackie Chan, James Bond. And yeah, that's the Western, but the Eastern side of cinema really blew me away because I loved the whole Spielberg stuff, but the Eastern was amazing. And then, yeah, then went to college, West Thames College, which is obviously on London Road. Don't hold me on that. And done performing arts and video production. But actually, going back, I used to run out of school to go and film in Richmond College with my older friends, Oliver and Aidan. And I was a bit naughty in school and I just didn't like the academic side of things and I just wanted to shoot movies all day. So I'd go to college with them whilst my French teacher chased me to return, shouting in French, I think. But then went to college and then university. I studied in Buckinghamshire and Chilterns University College in High Wycombe and done video production there. And then I'd done a bit of acting after that and done some extra work. A lot of people know me as the token black zombie in Shaun of the Dead. I'm on the front cover with Simon Cowell, Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. That was one of the biggest experiences. And I think that really inspired me because we shot in Ealing Studios, which was local. And I was like, wow, this is where they've done the whole Carry On films. So it had the legacy of comedy. And then Edgar Wright, auditioned me there. And I just fell in love with the whole production thing. And I was like, this is so me. Like, this is me. Oh, like I had that moment,
You learned the skills and you were kind of like, I guess, a film fan as well.
Oh,
But
definitely.
I mean, to actually make a film,
Yeah.
it takes a lot of organization, a lot of resources, a lot of money involved.
Yes.
So that seems like an enormous barrier to me. How do you actually go from having like maybe your idea to putting it into practice?
I'll be honest, I did at some point feel like a one-man band. You've got the Shaun of the Dead picture up there. I did feel like a one-man band, and then I just had a great team. I had my best friend, Aidan Largy Poland, who is basically my right-hand man. We work together. I almost feel like we're like the Coen brothers or the Russo brothers, and we just bat off each other. It's like one brain. And then obviously the amazing Jim Stark, who done all the special effects, my prosthetics and the visual effects and whatnot. Without them, it just wouldn't have been possible. They were an extension of me. I guess I had a vision and they were like, okay, dude, let's make this happen. And it did take a long time. And I think without money, it takes a long time. So, hello there. I got frustrated. There was breakdowns, breakups and tissues and issues, but it kind of makes it worth it when you see the final project. And I got really down. I'll be honest, I fainted actually in post-production. I worked so hard. I was in Somerset where we went back to Jim Stark's home and passed out on the stairs and went hospital because I think it was like the lawnmower man. I think I went into post-production, literally. I just felt like I didn't know what, I was in the Matrix or something. It was really hard, but drive and passion really gets you through it.
I know that you've done a little bit of sort of outreach, going into a couple of schools, colleges
Yeah.
around Hounslow. So when you meet young people who might be interested in doing what you're doing these days, what do you sort of say to them or do with them to kind of, give them confidence that
So
it's something
yeah,
that they can do?
so I went to a local school and college, my old college. The school was Lambton School in Hounslow, just down the road, and then West Middlesex College. And I just openly asked them what you want to do, and they all had these dreams. But the main thing I got out of it was lack of confidence. A lot of people think they can do it, but we can't. But I had to try and translate to them that they once were them, you know. And it's about just stepping out your comfort zone and really just getting on with it, because no one's going to do it for you. And I really tried to drill that into their heads, and they really took it on board, and they're asking to just even hold a boom on my next project and help out. I think the ambition is there, but I just think there's a lack of guidance, where they just think that whole Hollywood story of being spotted in a supermarket and go, "Hey, you got it, you're in my movie." And it's just not like that. It's just hard work. And I think even now, even me talking about how it's just about pushing it until people can hear about it. I'll be honest, the community didn't even help me in Hounslow. I mean, they actually wanted to shut me down. So you have to fight against that and try your best to just keep going. Because when you haven't got money, no one wants to listen. Everyone starts dancing when they see the pound coins and the sterling.
So what do you think would have made a difference to you when you were younger to have made the path a bit easier for you?
I had to travel at the age of 10 to Camden Town on the Piccadilly line, then change at Leicester Square, I remember, to Camden Town onto the Northern line in order to do some classes which weren't on the curricula. It was called Weekend Art College, WAC. I believe Sacha Baron Cohen went there. OT, who's now in Black Panther, Black Widow, the new Marvel film, he made it, and all kids went there. And I think it was to do with the government, and obviously Labour were putting a lot of money in there into the arts. And that sort of time, we're talking 96, 97, we would pay a pound to get a drama class done by an actor on Casualty, or would do a tap dancing class with someone who's in a show in central London. They would do it on their day off, and it was brilliant. And I was willing to travel and do that. And now there's nothing like that. And I find a lot of the kids are just finding the platform going online and just having that as their platform, as a YouTube streamer, because it's instant gratification. You're getting your likes straight away, and it's in the comfort of your own home. And I think a lot of competitions would be great. So, filmmakers out there, they're like, oh, make a film on your mobile and send it in to deal with current affairs or the problems you see around, depression, having no work, unemployment rate. Drink is a big problem in Hounslow, and I think we should maybe create something. I'm going off on one now, but it's something I've had in my brain, that we can just try and champion these new generation to sort of put it on a canvas somewhere.
And tell me a bit about. I know you're obviously Hound was kind of shot in Hounslow, and you're working with local people, and it seems to me like you do have quite a sort of commitment to your kind of hometown.
Definitely.
Is it just because it's your hometown, or is there something about Hounslow that kind of interests you as a kind of subject or a location somehow?
It was a bit of both. Really, it's because it was my love letter to Hounslow, because I love it so much, and because Hounslow has such a character and it's so diverse. It's almost like how Scorsese uses New York in these films. I kind of saw a heartbeat coming from Hounslow. Not the heart of Hounslow, that's the doctors, but it just felt like it was alive. And it literally is like, if you walk down the street, sometimes it feels like Rocky. I see Mr. Singh over at Sadr. He waves to me. We used his shop for a fight scene. It's amazing. And Houndslow's got such a character, but it's never been shown. So I tried to do that in Hound, and obviously in my future projects, I always think I'll home in and come home and always write about what I know about. Because if I was to do a film in New York, I wouldn't know what to do. I would end up copying things like, the Joker I've got there. That film's very 70s sort of late 70s New York. I wouldn't have a clue. So I only write or sort of do things I know about, really. And I think when it comes to personal projects like that, you're not cheating yourself. You know, me playing an Asian guy could have been really taken the wrong way. But I think because I'm so grounded here and I know the characterization of Hounslow, that didn't matter and it didn't come up. No one said anything. It's like, you know, a white guy doing the whole minstrel thing. It could have gone wrong.
The thing about your hometown is you when you walk around, you notice things. You see stuff and you've got memories and history, haven't you? So I guess there's a lot more that kind of jumps out at you, perhaps.
Definitely.
Can you tell us a bit about some of the people that you worked with? Like I remember when I mentioned the kind of opening scene with the bikers, you were telling me about these kind of bikers you're working with. Must have been a few kind of interesting kind of people or groups from different parts of Hounslow that you ended up.
Yeah, it was crazy. And it's all the love of Facebook. People hate social media, but without social media, we wouldn't have had a film. So people see your passion on there and they're like, okay, we'll get involved. We originally wanted 4 motorbikes and we ended up getting 15. In fact, they couldn't even fit into the garage. And Jordan there, he's the main villain in that scene. Hey, love him, man. He's like my brother from another mother, man. Or just from the same mother. But who knows? But we just took that scene and we actually got a round of applause. I remember, but Jim cut just then when we done our scene and it was just amazing. And it felt like the passion was leading us. We didn't need to, we weren't panicking, we were free. It was like doing a live show. And then, because we played it like jazz. We had a script that was a backbone and then we just sort of improvised some of this stuff. And that's some of the greatest and strongest moments we had. But going back to getting people involved, a lot of them weren't actors. And I think that raw grittiness can work in some aspects and not work in others. But, you know, I kind of like that raw delivery and you don't get divas as well. So,
but also, I mean, one of the things I really found fascinating when I watched it was the way it sort of seems to jump about between different types of sort of genre. And on the one hand, you've got this kind of action gangster kind of plot with kind of escalating violence. And then there's these moments of sort of real kind of empathy that kind of pull at your heartstrings. And like there's a scene in the sort of kitchen at Alcoholics Anonymous. And I was like, oh, but then suddenly it's back to the action thing again. And it's like playing with your expectations and it just makes everything so much sort of rawer.
Yeah, because I think life is like that. I think when they try and categorize life and they go, right, this film's a drama, this film is, and I just sometimes feel marginalized with that because I think in life you have so many versions of emotions. And sometimes I could have such a surreal day and then the next day would be really moribund. So I'm like, I like to just play with that. And I think, again, it was to do with Hounslow again, how it's so random. If you had a coffee and sat at Starbucks and just sat there for a while, the things you will see is amazing. And it kind of echoes that along the film. And the love of Eastern cinema and Western cinema, where it's not always the same to what we're used to. So I'd watch Jackie Chan films and, you know, some of obviously John Woo's stuff, and it just blew me away because it's just a different way of telling the narrative, not for a Western eye all the time.
It's obviously given you quite a distinctive voice, I think.
Oh, 100%. And anime, a lot of anime as well, because my friends were quite eclectic and they had a lot of different, I was inspired by so many different things, but a lot of my inspiration comes from Darren Aronofsky, who obviously is known for Mother, Black Swan, Noah, and Requiem for a Dream. He's someone who just really blew me away because it felt like he wasn't American in a weird way. The way he would shoot, I could identify with that, even though he's in New York, and it just resonated. And even using kind of like the soundtrack was a bit drum and bass kind of stuff he used, and it really echoed my sort of generation and that sort of surreal mixed with gritty. I just love it. I think they marry well. It's like comedy and tragedy. It can go, horror and gore can go so well with comedy. I think you can do that as well with action and pulling the heartstrings.
And Hound was your first feature-length film. Must have been a big sort of learning process as well. So what do you feel like you've you've learned from doing that, and what would you do differently next time?
Pay the actors is one, because like I said, when you pay people, they start dancing. I mean, there's only so much they can do as buddies, but they've got lives, and I had no money, and they knew I didn't have money, so it's pure love and respect and friendship that got us through it. I would have a bigger crew, so script supervisor, focus puller. There's so much, and not just use one lens. We use like a 35mm lens, when now we could hopefully, with money in our new film, just sort of change lenses and have a DOP on there, not have my fiance holding the boom and a kid from Sada focus pulling. He just wants to go home.
I saw a few people nodding there, perhaps people who perhaps were actors in Hound.
I'm sorry, guys.
Next time. So has it sort of do you think it's opened doors for you a bit? Is it going to be...
It opened doors, but feels like they're still closed, because I think you have to strike while the fire's hot, and if you haven't got the money, it's really hard to keep that momentum going. So it feels like I'm going back into the woods again, going, guys, remember this? And then you look at the IMDb date and you go, oh God, this was quite some time ago. But without money, it takes time, and if I had something like a 30K budget, we'll all be dancing. And I think it would be like Mission Impossible 10 in Hounslow.
I mean, is it this year you've been creating a series on YouTube?
Yes. Yeah. A snot bubble.
And there's some fantastic, quite grotesque characters.
I think it was developed from sort of trying to make people laugh during the lockdown. And it stemmed from work. I created a character at my current workplace at Heathrow Airport for BAA security, and it started on our social media called Buzz. Got mixed reviews, but a lot of positive reviews, and I intend to carry that on. But then it sort of segued to YouTube, and I thought of bigger and better things and try and create more characters. I've got Sam Montgomery here.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah. I have Sarah Akabusi. Look at that. I mean,
who makes these?
A great friend of mine called Ricky. He just lives down the road, actually. Hounslow artist as well. He's a stand-up comedian as well. So we connected, and we've got Hound here.
But no,
an unfinished Raj.
Awesome.
And oh no, that's my clear accessory. Sorry.
My favourite character is is it Steve, who does the disco defense course? And
yeah, Steve Marshall. Yeah,
never quite finishes it because he always gets interrupted by some sort of custodial crisis around his children.
Yes, kind of echoes my background, I'll be honest, and I think that's where some of the best comedy comes from. So I've taken a almost tragic story and sort of put a bit of sugar on it, and I think once you do that, a lot of good stuff comes out of it. And personally, it's like a little diary for me. Instead of writing things down, I just do it in a comedy way, and then
I suppose it gives you the freedom to experiment.
Oh, definitely. We're working on season 2. If you guys don't know, we've got Perrin J here. You can see him, PJ. He's my partner in crime in that, and we connected through the gym. I saw him at the gym, and he bought Hound, and then we started talking. And he's a local talent as well. I think he studied in Ealing acting school. I'm mute, mate. I can't remember what it's called. I don't want to plug him.
Yeah, I've done some stuff at the Questus Theatre. I did their performance course for 2 years, and then with them.
So he became my sidekick as Paul Lee, because he's Paul Lee. It's a bit of play on words there. You just need to watch it for yourself. And my character, Steve Marshall, the one of your favorites, he's a bit of a weird character, like pretends he's got a broken nose and like he's an ex-boxer, but he's not really. He just puts sellotape around his nose to give that impression. It's just also, you just need to watch it, guys, and subscribe.
Yeah, Saul Naga, Definitely Soul
Oh.
Naga. That's my favorite character. He's the best, the absolute best.
PJ, you're
Bear
too
with me,
quiet.
guys.
Simba's disappeared, so we'll interview you instead.
Oh.
Back.
Wow. Wow, it's amazing.
This is Soul Naga. He's a blaxploitation character whose sole purpose, see, you get that? Sole purpose is to eradicate Corona with 70s kung fu and profanity. So it's been a harsh year, but that gets us through it. I think Snot Bubble definitely brought me to a happy place, the creative place. But don't take it too serious. At the end of the day, it's art. I know we have to take it seriously, but it's fun at the end of the day. And we get goosebumps every time we're filming, and we don't want it to end. And we say, okay, we'll finish by 6, and we end up finishing 12 at night because, the passion just takes over. And that's what I live for. Literally, it's the best experience ever.
Good sign.